Welcome back, Duelists Casual here, and today I've got a fossil build. Now, I understand that fossils came out in the Battle of Legends Armageddon, and that was right around the time period where I started bringing you guys videos, like late August. I just had a little extra money last month, and I've been waiting for the cards to come in, because obviously I didn't pull everything I needed. And over the weekend, literally Saturday, the rest of my order came in, so I was finally able to go ahead and bring this to you guys. I play tested this with some proxies, threw it around. This is a perfect casual deck. You might take this one to a locals. I'm not sure. You guys let me know if that's what you do. But let's give you guys the deck list real quick. So we're going to start with the main. We did run 3 copies of Ash Blossom. We are going to run 2 copies Gamma CL because kaijuing is actually important. We're going to run 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, and I know that's not a number that everybody's comfortable with. This is something I did. We put Kokomeru in here mainly because Adamantipator, while being better, would make it more of a competitive in quotes, type of build. And this is supposed to be budget and casual. So I want Kokomeru engine. So we got the 3 Guardians, we got 3 Overloads, and 1 Wall. You can change this ratio any which way that you see fit. This is my preferred ratio, and it's been working out so far. We've got 3 copies Mathematician, and he's just an excellent starter for this deck. 3 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being. Not a card I tend to throw around a whole lot, but when you can tutor him in a heartbeat, you tend to make room, especially for a big disruption effect like that. And then, of course, we have to have the obligatory 3 copies of Weathering Soldier. This really is one of the most important cards in the deck, and you just need to maximize the playability by having all 3. All right, spells. And just so you know, there are no traps. It's just monsters and spells. We got the single Called by the Grave because it's still okay. 2 copies Extra Foolish Burial because, believe it or not, actually really good when dealing with the higher level fusions. 1 copy Regular Foolish Burial. You guys will notice I upgraded to a foil thanks to Maximum Gold. It's about time, right? I got the 3 copies of Fossil Fusion. Of course, you need that. We've got the 3 copies of Miracle Rupture. This is Extra Foolish Burial. You got the Monster Reborn because, you know, Monster Reborn, guys. 2 Specimen Inspections. Still a great spell card. And then we're going to finish it out with 3 copies of Time Stream. And that's going to be our main build. We will now move on to the 15-card extra deck. And for that, we are going to use 2 copies of the Fossil Dragon Skullgar. We are going to run 1 copy of the Fossil Dragon Skullgios. We are going to run 2 Fossil Warrior Skullbones. Should be 2 Skull Kings. And then, of course, 2 Skull Knights. Luckily, I actually had the 2 Skull Knights. It was the spell cards I was missing, which is weird, because I think this is the one that they short printed really crazy like back during the Battle of Legends Armageddon. For Xyz, we're only going to be running 1 today, and just Gallant Granite, because amazing card. And then our Link portion of the deck is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be running the 1 Boral Sword Dragon. We will be running the 1 Cross Sheep because its effect for fusion is pretty amazing. And then we're going to run my normal, and albeit out of alphabetical order, Nightmare engine of Unicorn, Phoenix, and Cerberus. I'm not sure how I manage that, guys. If the deck list is all you're here for, we're done. Class is dismissed. We'll see you guys on another video. If it helped you, maybe consider telling your friends. Maybe hit the subscribe button. Go enjoy another video. For everybody else, let's talk over why we chose these cards today. So back to the main deck, real quick. Ash Blossom is, again, pretty obvious. One of the best generic hand traps in the game. We're just going to maximize our plays at 3. With Gamma CL, we want the smallest power kaiju. That's why he's the one who got all the reprint love. He was a secret rare. He's an ultra rare. I think he was like a common or a regular rare the first time around. It's why he sees the most play. He literally just is the weakest. So when we go ahead and snap up our opponent's card, this is going to put us in the best position to then run it back over. So 2 Gamma CLs. Ghost Ogre. Again, I run this girl at 3. And it is because of the effect. In this build, I find that destroying a card that's using its effect while on the field, even if I'm not directly negating it, can save me a world of trouble later. And fossils, I think, benefit from this even more so, especially when it's higher level monster cards. So again, if you don't have 3 or you don't want to run 3 or you want to bolster the Kokomeru engine, maybe you don't like Wall at 1, maybe bring Wall up to 2, drop Ogre to 2, or drop one of these guys, depending on what your favorite flavor is. With the Kokomeru, they're all pretty vanilla. They're all 1900 attack points. I guess I also have 1200 defense. I didn't notice that until just now. Not the position I tend to put them in. And like all Kokomeru cards, during the end phase of every turn, destroy the card unless you reveal a card with the same type, or you send 1 Iron Core of Kokomeru from the hand to the graveyard. Guys, we're just going to reveal a rock type. It's fine. And then, of course, each one contribute itself to negate something when your opponent does it. Guardian here, best one, likes to go off on a monster effect. So monster effect gets activated, you tribute it, send it to the graveyard, negate, destroy, pop. Overload here likes to take care of special summons. So when the opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, you can destroy the monsters. Pretty darn good. I'm liking Overload. And Wall is when a spell gets activated. Now, I don't really feel the need to hit the spells. Most spells that I'm going to see coming are actually going to be tutor spells recently. So Ash Blossom, guys. I didn't feel the need to put Wall up to 2 or 3. I just found that, Guardian and Overload were just more playable for me. Definitely play the ratio that you guys feel comfortable with. Mathematician, he's going to be a great starter. Again, when this card is normal summoned, we can send a level 4 or lower monster from our deck to the graveyard. This is going to help us start off with Weathering Soldier effect, getting us directly into a Fossil Fusion and starting up our plays. Additionally, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you could draw a card. So there's a little something for you there too. 3 for consistency issues. Nibiru, I don't even need to talk to you guys about Nibiru. Just understand that with Gallant Granite, Nibiru not only puts monsters away, wipes out boards, but I can tutor it to my hand. You'd be crazy not to maximize this one to 3 if you have them. So again, 3. Weathering Soldier, kind of like the OG for this deck. If this is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard by a card effect, notice it doesn't say from the field to the graveyard, you can add Fossil Fusion or a card that specifically lists Fossil Fusion in the text, except another copy of Weathering Soldier from the deck to your hand. You may use this effect only once per turn, and during your end phase, this card will lose 600 attack points, which is fine. I mean, it starts off at a pretty darn good 2k. But the real point of the Weathering Soldier is to let us play with our fusion monsters, and that's really the direction we want to head in. The spells, the Called by the Grave, very self-explanatory. Just get rid of hand traps. Extra Foolish Burial, pay half your life points. This is why it's only a 2. Send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. You may activate one of these per turn. You cannot set spell traps during the turn you activate this card. This is why I'm not running trap cards. I didn't want to interfere with my own plays. And again, we have enough hand traps and we have the Kokomeru control engine in here. I felt that this was a good move. It is a little risky. I'll tell you what, I have lost a game or two because I paid half my life points too soon. But the later the game, the later you draw that, obviously the lesser the cost becomes. Foolish Burial, obvious good stuff. Fossil Fusion, and this is worth talking about. So Fusion, summon one Fossil Fusion from the extra deck by banishing materials listed from any graveyards except for materials with a specific graveyard requirement listed. If you banish monsters from both graveyards, neither player can target that special summon monster with monster's effects. If a face-up Fossil Fusion monsters you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, while this is in your graveyard, you may add this back to your hand. You can use this effect once per turn. Okay, so that's a lot easier to talk about if I had gone over the extra deck first. But sometimes they say something specific like Skullgar here. 1 rock plus 1 level 4 lower in your opponent's graveyard. So it's beneficial for me to remove my own rock and their monster. Then we've hit both graveyards, and now he's given a bit of blanketed protection. And additionally, if he does end up being destroyed by a card effect or by battle, I will get to recycle the Fossil Fusion itself. So it's a lot of text for a very simple effect, and when I was playtesting, I did stumble over it quite a bit. So it's not bad, though. Miracle Rupture is like having extra Foolish Burials in your deck. This allows you to send a level 4 or lower rock monster from the deck to the graveyard. And then, afterward, if Fossil Fusion happens to be in the graveyard, you get to draw 1 card. You can only activate 1 of these per turn. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a draw. It's kind of a starter. It's going to get you into throwing Weathering Soldier. If you've already done that once before, you've already got a fusion out, you're going to get another Fossil Fusion, and you're going to draw a card, and it's crazy. It's good. And believe it or not, any other rock deck that needs cards to be in the graveyard can utilize this. So, awesome. Again, Monster Reborn, good card. Specimen Inspection. Now, I run 2 of these for a reason. Reveal 1 Fossil Fusion in your hand, which is not always possible. Send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, declare a type and a level. Then your opponent looks at their hand and deck and sends 1 monster with the declared type and level from one of them to the graveyard, if possible. You can activate 1 of these per turn, and it's good. It's just not, I don't know. It's just not amazing. Time stream. We run 3. Target 1 Fossil Fusion monster that you control. Tribute it. And if you do, special summon a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck whose original level is 2 higher than that monster's. This is going to be treated as a fusion summon. Use with Fossil Fusion. And during the main phase, except the turn that this is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this and 1 Fossil Fusion in the graveyard, target a Fossil Fusion monster in the graveyard, special summon it back. So the later the game, we're talking about possible revives, and we're talking about progressing the fusion monsters in a nearly linear fashion. So what it means is any of the 4s can become the 6s. So either the 2 4s can become the knight, which is pretty important. And then Skelgios is an 8. And King is an 8. So you can go from either of these 2, the 2 4s to the 6, or the 6 to one of the 2 8s. Real quick, I'd like to breeze through this since we are sort of building up time here. To put the Skullgar together, it's a rock and a level 4 lower monster in our opponent's graveyard. Needs to be special summon, must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. If it attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing. Banish this card from your graveyard to add a Fossil Fusion from your deck to your hand. And again, that right there is a reason just to put the extra Foolish Burial into your deck, because this guy has an effect if he's in the graveyard. And then we're going to go to the Skelgios. He's one of the 8s. So it's a rock and a level 7 or higher monster in our opponent's graveyard. Must be first played with Fossil Fusion before damage calculation. If battling an opponent's monster, we can switch the current attack and defense of that opponent's monster until the end of the battle or end of the damage step. So it's a forced shield and sword. If this card attacks defense, inflict piercing. If this fusion summon monster battles an opponent's monster, any damage it inflicts to your opponent becomes double. So Skullgios, kind of a boss level card. He was awesome. Again, I only ran one of him because he's just not as good as King and Knight, in my opinion. So let's talk about the Fossil Warrior Skullbones real quick. Must, of course, be played with the Fossil Fusion. Can make up to 2 attacks on monsters every battle phase, which can help you clear boards early. You can banish this in the graveyard to add Time Stream from your deck to your hand. Again, great target. Definitely usable for our extra Foolish Burial. Going to the 8-star King. Again, 1 rock and 1 level 7 or higher. Doesn't need to be our opponent's cards this time. So if we needed to extra Foolish another copy of one of our big boys, we could do that. If you already used Nibiru, if you used your Gamma CL, it's okay. These cards will work. If your opponent's playing something that's got bigger monsters to it, use theirs. Hit it with Gamma CL, put it in the graveyard, do the Fossil Fuse. It's awesome. Anyway, must be played with Fossil Fusion. This card can make a second attack during every battle phase. Doesn't have to just be against monsters. If this card attacks defense, obvious piercing damage. And during the opponent's turn as a quick effect, I can target a monster in my opponent's graveyard, discard 1 card, and if I do, special summon their monster to my side of the field. And again, if I've already hit you with Gamma CL, I could be taking back some amazing cards like Dragoon or insert your boss monster here. So King is one of my preferred plays. And then, of course, Knight is our 6-star. And that is a rock plus a level 5 or a level 6. Now, just real quick, did I give you guys the ability to do that? I don't think I did. I think you have to rely on your opponent. Yeah, you guys are going to have to rely on your opponent to play this guy. Or using the extra Foolish Burial to nix out the other copy of himself. See, I thought about it, but I wasn't sure. Sorry. Must first be special summoned with the Fossil Fusion. If, of course, attacks defense, inflict piercing. When this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, activate the following effect. It can make a second attack once in a row. You can banish this card from the graveyard to target 1 monster on the field, destroy it. You can use this effect once per turn. He is also obviously an excellent target, even if you're not going to use him to play another copy of himself. And honestly, Monarch decks are still kind of a thing. So be expectant to use their Monarchs. Again, Gallant Granite is our only Xyz. We're going to use any 2 level 4s. Detach material, activate an effect. You can only activate the second effect once per turn. So the first one that we're going to want to do is add a rock from deck to hand. Guys, that's Nibiru right there. Boom. Okay, I'm threatening hand trap. Go ahead, play your loop. I gotcha. Or you can special summon a rock monster from your hand in face down defense position. Not as terribly useful in this build, but I don't know. Maybe you need to peel the materials to do one of the lower end fusions real quick. The better plays come from the links. Obviously, Boral's Sword is going to help you guys charge in there for game. I feel like he's pretty current. Everybody knows him, so we'll skip him. Cross Sheep is just 2 monsters with different names. The effect we're worried about is when a fusion monster is summoned to a zone that this card points to, we are going to get the special summoning level 4 lower monster from our graveyard. So this is going to help us recycle our characters, especially the fusion monsters, and, have some fun with it. And then, of course, the Nightmare Engine is so basic. Cerberus deals with your special summon monsters, Phoenix the back row, Unicorn with whatever you want to seal back to your opponent's deck. It's about 20 minutes. It's a nice, casual, fossil build. Again, sorry I didn't get that out sooner. I didn't really think that I was going to be making videos this long. I'm happy I am. I'm definitely going to keep going. And again, I made an order. I just had to wait for it to come in. So I hope that you guys get a chance to try this. Let me know how you like it down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Oh, real quick. Yeah, I heard you guys. Cyber Dragons. I'm going to try to get that done by the end of the week. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.